What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer update video. Today, we'll be looking at the latest rumours surrounding Arsenal as we are linked with Chelsea midfielder Ngolo Kante. Is it too little too late? We'll get involved in that transfer story and the rest of the things going on and going off at Arsenal. Hope you're well today on this Sunday, people, or it might be Monday by the time you're watching this. And just wanted to give you a little story before we got into today's show. So I was at a football tournament today in North London. Cruz was playing. And Paul Merson was there. Paul Merson was there today. He was managing a team there. And I managed to get a 5-minute chat with him. I had a good chat with him. We were talking about the old times at Arsenal. And obviously I saw an article that he'd put out where he said he'd spoken to Edu. And Edu was quite bullish about what we were going to do in the transfer market. And I'll be honest with you, the player he kept mentioning was Milinkovic-Savic. I said, we need a midfielder, Merson. He was like, yeah, I'd get Milinkovic-Savic. And I was like, what, has Edu told you we're going for him? And he was like, I just think that's the one we should get. So, I'm not ITK in here, people, but Paul Merson said we're getting Milinkovic-Savic. I'm joking, by the way. Listen, great to meet him. He took the time out. He was very polite and spoke to Cruz and he took a picture with him and stuff. So big up to Paul Merson. But the name he was mentioning, Milinkovic-Savic. So keep your eyes peeled on that one, people. Let's hope, listen, it'd be a brilliant signing, but obviously very expensive. Let's get into today's show, people. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're 900 away from 50,000 subscribers. Let's get there ASAP, people, and then I'll do a good giveaway for the community. So let's get there ASAP. Let's get into today's show. Ngolo Kante. I mean, how do you even approach this rumor as a content creator? I'm not sure what angle to even go at this rumor. I mean, Kante to Arsenal. Let's look at the details. I am going to ITK here, people. As you know, anybody that watches this channel on a regular basis, I've got a little bit of inside info on Leicester. I have a friend who works there. And when Arsenal went to sign N'Golo Kante from Leicester, this deal was in our hands and we basically just threw it in the air and allowed Chelsea to mop up and collect it. Horrendously bad business. We didn't want to pay the agent fee and we decided to go for Granit Xhaka, who was the same price, but his agent was a lot cheaper. I think we know who had the better career from that point when we signed Xhaka and Kante. Kante's won the World Cup and the Premier League and all sorts. He's been one of the best midfielders in world football over the last few years. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The rumour says, or let's read the story. The rumour says that Arsenal are inquiring to the availability of N'Golo Kante as they believe he could be available for a summer move as Chelsea consider moving on the Frenchman who only has 1 year left on his contract. He is now Chelsea's top earner at the football club and he has suffered injury problems this season. He earns a whopping £270,000 a week at Chelsea. Now, Raheem Sterling, who's set to sign for Chelsea, he's actually going to be the top earner. But as of this moment right now, Kante is the top earner at Chelsea. 31 years of age, and he has a year left on his contract. It's believed that Chelsea may be willing to cash in on him as they feel his injury problems and giving him a new contract on such a high wage could be a big risk. Now, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years ago, Arsenal fans would be celebrating like crazy about this deal. One of the best midfielders in world football in the role that he plays. I don't know how to feel about this rumour. Number one, I'm going to be totally honest. It's coming out of the Daily Star. It's not coming from a great source. And I wouldn't buy into this rumour too much. They have to fill newspapers. They know that Arsenal fans will buy into big transfer rumours. We do. We can't help it. So do I believe it? Not really. However, if his agent had approached Arsenal and said, listen, Kante's got a year left, you can get him for cheap, I'm sure that Arsenal, with our current midfield situation, would consider it. I just don't see how it adds up for Arsenal. Listen, let me look at it from a footballing point of view. Ngolo Kante would probably be our best midfielder as soon as he signs for us, even though he's injury prone, even though he's past his best. You know, he would be a monster for Arsenal. Where you've got to look at the issue, number one, the wages are ginormous. He would be our highest paid player. Number two, he's 31. And number three, he's been injury prone for the last year. His role has been so heavy duty the last few years. The amount of running he's done, is his body starting to break down? If we're talking pure talent and ability, of course you sign N'Golo Kante. If you're talking about £270,000 a week for an injury-prone 31-year-old, I'm not sure. Listen, I always say beggars can't be choosers. Arsenal are certainly not in a position to turn down N'Golo Kante. However, you do have to put perspective on the entire deal and say, would you go for it? I mean, the rumours are, people, Chelsea would want between 30 and 35 million for N'Golo Kante. Listen, first of all, do you believe the rumour? Do you think there could be something in it? N'Golo Kante, a player we should have signed years ago. We literally had the deal wrapped up and decided to go against it. Would you buy N'Golo Kante right now under these circumstances for £35 million? Let me know. Is he that good that you simply write it all off and say, I don't care if he's 31. I don't care if it's 270 grand a week. It's N'Golo Kante. Pay the money, get him to the Emirates. Or are you looking at it the other way and saying, listen, he's been an unbelievable player, but he's injury prone. He's on massive wages. And we don't want to get lumbered with something else that Chelsea are trying to get rid of. Because we've done it before with your Willians, your David Luiz and players like that. I want to know your thoughts on this. I really do. I'll be interested to see what you think about this. I would imagine there'll be some of you in the comments who just say, we've got El Neni and Xhaka, mate. You can't turn down N'Golo Kante. But there'll be some of you who just say, you know, the deal overall doesn't make a huge amount of sense. I'm going to be honest. The only way I take this deal, if he takes a reduction in wages and you can get him on maybe a 2-year contract, something like that, you know, a short-term deal, couple of years, that's the only way that I think I would consider it. Apart from that, I wouldn't go for it. If he was asking for a 3 or 4 year deal, I would stay well away from it. 2 years, Kante on a reduced wage? I wouldn't necessarily say no, but I just don't think them circumstances would come to fruition. So let me know what you think on that one, people. N'Golo Kante. Let's talk about another midfielder. I mean, we've mentioned him time after time, and that is Tielemans. Report going around today that Newcastle are the latest club to confirm their interest in signing Tielemans. They want to sign another midfielder in this window to play next to Bruno Guimaraes. And they believe that Tielemans could fit that bill. They are willing to pay the 30 or 35 million that Leicester want for him. They can match the wage that he's asking for. The problem they have no European football. And it's believed Tielemans wants at least Europa League football to consider a move. But money talks, people. Money talks. If Newcastle put a big bag on the table and sell him a project or a process, as Arsenal would have called it, maybe Tielemans follows the bag. It'll be interesting. What I've said many times, people, is if Arsenal don't want Tielemans, then they have to sign the player that they do want. Because we're in a situation where I'm kind of looking at it going, well, Tielemans is there on in the palm of your hand to sign. You're not signing him. You want Milinkovic-Savic. You're struggling to get that deal done. We seem nowhere near that deal. We're being linked with Kante. That's a long shot. Somebody's going to try and buy Tielemans in this window because he's a very good player for 30 million, 35 million quid. Make your mind up. If he's not the answer and you're seeking an alternative, go and get that done. Otherwise, get Tielemans holding up the shirt. I don't have a big problem with Tielemans signing for Arsenal. I think it's a sensible signing. But as I always say, people, if it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. Clip that, Ross. If it makes sense, Arsenal will not do it. Tielemans, Newcastle interested. They're willing to pay 35. They're willing to meet the wage demands. They just don't have European football. But I've seen cases where, players are convinced by the project. So we'll see what happens with that one. Story coming out of Portugal today. Ebola. I'm not sure how good a source that is over there in Portugal. But they're reporting that Arsenal have now verbally offered this 7 million euros that Benfica apparently are willing to accept for Grimaldo, despite reports saying the other week they wanted 10 million. Apparently now they're willing to accept 7 million euros. As I've said before, good player. I would take him. A lot of people say attacking-wise, he's very good. Defensively, not so good. So, but we definitely need a fullback that can challenge Kieran Tierney. We know that Tierney has, an injury-prone record, unfortunately, and we need somebody that can challenge him. I think this one could materialise this week if it's as true as what reports are saying. So look out for that one. Grimaldo to Arsenal, Spanish left-back, plays for Benfica, was actually the first choice ahead of Nuno Tavares, who was the second choice. And let's go straight in to Nuno Tavares. Now, according to reports, Marseille want to sign Nuno Tavares in this window on loan with an option to buy next summer. It's believed they are big fans of him. I mean, they've seen something we haven't. Kolasinac is there at the moment, so maybe Kolasinac has looked so bad that Nuno Tavares looks like a dream to them. So what I wanted to ask you people, I've said many times, I think Tavares is a raw talent, but I don't think he's good enough for Arsenal at the moment. Would you loan him out with an option to buy, which could mean we never see him play for Arsenal? Or do you think there's enough potential there to say, listen, if he could go to a Marseille, go and get 30, 40 games, is there potentially a good player there in 12 months' time with a lot more experience? Personally, I would try and loan him out and bring him back and see what level he's at that point. Obviously, if he doesn't develop, you have the option to move him on. But giving them the option to buy, you just never know how good he's going to become. So I'm going to be honest, me personally, I wouldn't lose sleep if Nuno Tavares was sold, but he's so young and inexperienced, I personally would like to see him go on loan and then we weigh up our own options rather than giving the control to Marseille. So let me know what you think on that one. Nuno Tavares, would you keep him at the club after a potential loan spell, or are you just willing to let him go? Let me know what you think about that one. And one more bit of transfer news today, people, and that is once again about man like Bernd Leno. It looks as if this one is edging closer. Now, Bernd Leno didn't travel to Germany to feature in the friendly with Arsenal. He was left back in London to negotiate this deal. It's believed all that they need to do now is tie up the transfer fee with Arsenal to get this move tied up and to bring him to Fulham. I think, all parties are probably going to get this deal done now. I think Fulham want it, Leno wants it, and Arsenal want it. £10 million is apparently what Arsenal are asking for. Shouldn't be too difficult to negotiate. He is a very good goalkeeper, and Bernd Leno looks to be on his way out. Before we end today's show, on this day in 2014, Arsenal completed the signing of Chilean international forward Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona for 35 million. And you just think to yourself, can Arsenal get a player of that level in this window? He was a game changer. He was our best player, in my opinion. Better than Ozil, better than Cazorla. He was the match winner. He was the one that got you off the edge of your seat. He was the one where fullbacks were scared to be one-on-one with him. They were calling back the winger, come and help me, this guy's ferocious. Can we get a player of that level in this window, a game changer, someone that goes into our attack and somebody that gives us that cutting edge going forward? If only, people. We would love to see it. And final bit of news, Mohamed El Neni did an interview after the game in Germany where he was talking about how delighted he was to stay at Arsenal. And he also said Arsenal can win the Premier League this season. Mohamed, I love your optimism, my friend. I don't know if it's the heat over there in Germany. I don't know what they're putting in that water. But relax, bro. I know you just scored an absolute belter of a goal. But titles, I think you need to calm down, my friend. But listen, I love the optimism. But is it delusion or optimism? But hey, maybe we'll win the Europa League title. You never know. Thank you very much for tuning in today, people. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If it's Monday and you're watching on Monday, make the week a positive one, an ambitious one. Start again. Get moving, chase them dreams, and let's get moving in the right direction. We'll have another pre-season friendly next weekend against Everton. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like the video and subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bless!